So, one of the suggestions that has been discussed is that if you to increase the demand of quality education in government schools, have the government officials or people who want to contest in local governments or politicians have their kids go to government schools.
Well, as I said, if the voice and need they go together, is wonderful. So if my kid is going to that school, obviously I would be interested in
Right.
my kid doing well. And if I also have power and voice, certainly I'll make that power and voice felt in order to improve the service. As a principal, it's good. It applies even more to teachers. You are teaching. You are drawing your livelihood from teaching. If your kids go to the same school, chances are it will improve. But the problem is, we have allowed the situation to deteriorate so far that this will only have a backlash, particularly from the teachers. The local government leaders may not have a backlash because when you want to get elected, you are voiceless. You can't fight against the system. You have to go and appeal to the electorate somehow or other. So, to what extent it will yield the results is a different matter. But teachers, probably the collective might of the teachers is used against the government to build pressure. The governments will not be able to sustain. So, while ideally the stakeholder must have also the voice, the person with voice must have stakes. I completely agree as principle. Given India's conditions, there will be too much of resistance, too much of agitationism. So create conditions in which voluntarily I would be happy to send my kid to this school because this school is doing very well. Why should I spend out of pocket 50,000, 1 lakh rupees per month, per year? There are many, many poor families spending 50,000, 60,000 rupees per year. Many middle class families are spending 2-3 lakhs a year. Wealthy families are spending 6 to 7 lakh rupees a year for school education. Some up to 10 lakh rupees. So why will I want to send my kids to private schools at this enormous expense if actually good education is available here? What happens in Britain? What happens in Germany, Japan, France, or even the United States? Most of the parents send their kids to the state schools because they already paid for them. They pay taxes. In fact, in the US, for instance, they decentralize power to a point where a school district board, locally elected, manages all the schools within that board, within the jurisdiction. Wherever a school district board functions well, the property values go up. There's a lot of demand for housing because then, free of cost, I can send my kids to that school. I don't have to pay exorbitant fee. Kids will do very well. And therefore, people want to move into that area. And unless you're a resident there, unless you're paying taxes there, you cannot send your kids to that school. So property values have gone up. So I agree with that as a principle. But given the current state, that may or may not work. The first thing is, do whatever it takes, at least over a few years, 3, 4, 5 years, to improve the quality of education, improve the outcomes. Once you do that, then you can push the system. It's a bit like public transport versus private transport. Everybody knows public transport is vital. But without improving public transport, creating a credible and efficient public transport system, integrated public transport system, suddenly overnight you say, you cannot use private cars, only public transport. What will happen? The idea is very sound. The idea is perfect. But chicken or egg? Do you improve the public system first to make it attractive? Or do you force people to accept a bad public system in a democracy? So it's not a question of idea, it's a question of acceptability.
So consider the plight of the middle classes. Public education is not good, it's not up to the mark, and private education is expensive. 2-3 lakh rupees for a class 1, class 2.
Absolutely.
Grade 1, grade 2 student. So in that situation, what is the middle class is going to do? Like, how do you tackle that?
No, first thing is educational outcomes. Money will come later. My argument is, even when you send to private schools, most of the private schools, 70 to 80% of the private schools, we are always focusing on the high-end public schools, high-end private schools.
Yes.
No, 70 to 80% of the private schools charge 25,000-30,000 rupees.
Yes.
Budget or lower. Budget private schools. And even that for a poor family is a lot of money. 25, 30, 40,000 rupees is not a small amount in India.
Absolutely not.
And yet, there is no educational outcome. So first focus on government or private outcomes. Government cannot say, I'm only in charge of government schools. Anyway, government schools, they messed up. Government is here to ensure that every child gets quality education. That is the government's job. Whether it's government or private is secondary. Who manages the school is secondary. But monitoring and getting the outcomes is your responsibility. It's a sacred duty of the government.
Right.
So first, focus on that. Second, for the budget private schools, 25,000-30,000 rupees, let us say. You now cut down unnecessary expenditure in state schools. If the teacher-student ratio is already very high, for every 14-15 kids there is a teacher, and the student population is declining, please remember. Declining in government in two ways. One, increasingly students are going more to private schools, therefore the share of government in schooling has come down. The enrollment in government schools as a share of the total school children has come down. Second, because of the demographic changes in the country, in most parts of the country, the number of children is getting fewer and fewer every year. The absolute number of children available for schooling is actually declining in most states. We are still thinking of 50 years ago problem. If last year there were 25 lakh children in a state who are eligible to go to school under 15 years or whatever, this year there are only 24.5 lakhs. Next year there are only 24 lakhs. If birth rates are declining, what's happening? Younger population is declining as a proportion. And in absolute numbers also. We are forgetting that. So our thinking each election, I will add 10,000 more teachers, 20,000 more teachers. The recruitment has become employment program, not education. Recruitment is not for education, it is for employment. Now in that climate, you make an assessment of the actual requirement of teachers and how many students there are in government schools. And if the ratios are satisfactory, then don't recruit every year as a matter of routine, because if, so let's say in 1 year 3,000 teachers retire, you don't require 3,000 teachers.
Right.
And the money you would have saved by not recruiting new teachers, the salary, you repurpose it for reimbursing the school fee subject to two conditions. One, a limit, because we can only afford that for the poor kids in budget schools. Let's say 25,000 rupees a year or 30,000 rupees a year, some reasonable limit of that kind. Two, provided outcomes are good, that means there must be a proper testing mechanism. There must be a rating mechanism of each school, government or private. And it must be objective, it must be efficient, it must be universal. All schools must be covered. Supposing the school is able to get those outcomes on a sustained basis, the fee is below a certain level, then only for those schools you reimburse the fee.
Right.
So automatically, fee structure is based on what? Poverty. If I can really afford, it's unlikely that a rich man will send a child to a 20,000 rupee fee structure. Right? If I can afford 2 lakh rupees, it's unlikely that I am poor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So start this. Then what will happen? Competition and choice. Competition among the providers and choice for the parents. Once that happens, the public also can build pressure. Look, at 30,000 rupee fee, they are improving the outcomes. If 1,08,000 rupees we are spending per child in government schools, if the outcomes are not improving, why are we paying taxes?
Yes.
Or they will start migrating to private schools. So the system will be automatically accountable. So there are many innovative things you can do.
Right. So probably my last question to you, what is your appeal to the civil society across the country, and let's say in Telangana particularly?
As the National Education Policy said, education is too big a task to be left to a government or to teachers or to administrators. All of us have stakes. In 21st century world, there is nothing more important than quality education available to everybody. Healthcare is important too, but even that is relegated to secondary level. Number one priority today, if you want to have prosperity, if you want to eliminate caste discrimination, if you want to end poverty, if you want to give everybody an opportunity in life, if you want every child to fulfill a potential, for all this, there's only one answer. That answer is quality education. Therefore, you can't simply make it partisan. Don't say this party, that party. It's not one party or other party. We together messed up. In fact, I don't blame parties. the education administrators, the teaching community, and those of us in civil society who should learn better. We came up with outrageous solutions. The word outcomes did not even find place in our policies until recently. What kind of monitoring did we do from a medical college, engineering college to a school, the length of a classroom, the breadth of a classroom? This is our level of monitoring, not outcomes. So all of us, we share the blame. So instead of blame throwing, we must make it a movement. Luckily, this is one area where there is impressive consensus from the society across all sections. If somebody is working for education, they need some resources, or time, or energy, or talent. It is never found wanting. Everybody in society wants to help in the cause of education because that is part of Indian culture for thousands of years. We worship talent. We admire scholarship throughout history. And even today, somebody gets into IIT or IIM or something, see the adulation, see the publicity. In no other country do you get publicity. If somebody gets into IAS or some other services, my God, there's so much of adulation, so much of respect, good cheer. So we value learning. And we must make it a collective enterprise. If you merely leave it to for instance, a government tries to bring accountability in education, there will be pressure. In a democratic society, there will be all kinds of pressure and pushback. If the society remains silent, if you make it a fight between that government and the teaching community, or clerk somewhere else or something else, then we are being unwise. It's our money. It's our children's future. We must have an active say in that. We must never allow this kind of fundamental battles. There is always a clash between sectional interest and the collective interest. Clash between short-term individual gain and long-term collective good. These are inherent clashes in a democracy. On occasion, the governments actually fight for the general public. Not often, unfortunately, but they do on occasion. If on those occasions we remain silent as a people, we think it's their fight, it's the chief minister versus somebody's fight, not our fight, then we are the losers. Because politically they can't take the heat. So we must participate, give everything we can to that task, in addition to what the government can do. But we also must lend voice when the government does the right things. Forget the parties to that extent. Come election time, you vote for whom you want. But on this day, there are no parties. The government is ours. Whoever is the government, whichever be the state, doesn't matter. The government is ours. The tax money is ours. Children are ours. The future is ours. Unless we bring that perspective to the table, if everything you do from the partisan lens, polarizing lens, we end up destroying our children. I have no doubt about it.
Right, sir. Thank you for sharing your perspective today, sir.